Ava, Chloe, Blake, thank you for taking a break from what has to be a lot of practice to talk to us today.
Thanks for inviting us. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Okay, so first question for y'all. People your age have about a million things they could be doing. I think Americans in general are busier than they've ever been, and American youth may be busier than American adults. So why, out of all the things you could be doing, do you choose Lads to Leaders?
Well, for me personally, I've just grown up going to Lads to Leaders, and it's just become a part of my life because I've been doing it since a very young age. And it's kind of become like a sport to me, or like an extracurricular activity. And so I've just become like devoted and so used to it. But although sometimes it has been very harder to make the time for it and complete the projects, it's always been worth it in the end. So I'm glad I was able to make the time for that.
We face a lot of things in this world, and by doing Lads to Leaders, it helps put in perspective for the Christian where our priorities are. The way that Lads works and training up kids, that benefits them to do other things in the world, if that makes sense. So, for example, if I play basketball, Lads to Leaders can help me maybe evangelize to some kids or shine the light of Jesus through there. So by doing Lads to Leaders, it A, helps me keep my focus on the cross, and B, further my skills as a Christian.
I do Lads to Leaders because I just really enjoy doing it. It gives me a lot of time with the other girls at my church. It helps me get to know them more. It helps me learn to be able to teach better and defend my faith a lot better than what I used to. Going to co-op, it's been really helpful defending it, and I just really think that's helped me grow in my spiritual life.
So, y'all, in the introduction, you are involved in so many different events in Lads to Leaders. It's like mind-boggling to me how many things that you have practiced, how many skills you've learned. But besides the skills that you are learning and practicing in Lads to Leaders, what are some other things that you are discovering or learning about God and the people of God?
Well, I've definitely learned that everyone's different, especially like in all the different categories. Like God has blessed everyone differently with their different talents. But I've also learned that we all share the same thing, and that's the love of Christ. That no matter how he blessed us or how we're different, we still love him. And at the end of the day, we want to do what pleases him all together.
So to back off what she said, I'm going to further that a little more. What I have learned about the people of God is that unity can be the best thing for the church. It baffles me a lot of times how Satan can divide us when the ultimate goal should be for unity. And it teaches me about God, that it is his church and we need to go by his standards. And I love the thought of unity, how we can all come together through Lads to Leaders and other events to be the one church that Jesus talks about in John chapter 17.
I've learned that God didn't just give us people to ignore them, that we were given each other to help each other through things. We use our talents and abilities to help. We all don't have the same things, so we need to rely on others to help back us up.
Okay, so y'all have been doing this for a long time. Some of you for several years. Where do you hope that what you started with Lads to Leaders will take you, and how do you hope it grows with you over the rest of your lives?
I just hope that I'll always remember what I learned at Lads. Like if I had not attended Lads to Leaders, then I probably would have never gone into like public speaking and become so used to that. And it's just helped me in so many ways that I couldn't imagine. And so I hope that it continues to do that throughout college and in my future. And I just hope I remember what I've learned from it and still use those skills.
So, Lord willing, I plan to become a full-time pulpit minister in the Lord's church. And my hope is that from what I've learned through Last Leaders, it will make me an effective minister. And in fact, I currently preach part-time for 2 congregations in Waco. I'll preach once a month at each of them. And Lads to Leaders has helped teach me the skills of how to be an effective minister, how to care for other people. Sometimes I'll lead singing. They've taught me how to lead songs and several different areas for effective ministry.
I just hope that it helps me with the job that I get. I'm not sure what I want to do, but I know that whatever I want to do, I'll know that I can rely on my Lads Leaders knowledge to help me if I need to defend my faith. I know that I'll be able to teach more Bible classes. I really like working with kids, so Lads has helped me grow through that. And I hope that it'll help me with my Red Coat project, and just hope that it helps me figure out how to get to grow and help lean on other churches that I've helped.
Okay, now I've got to ask a quick clarifying question here, because I have to assume not everybody listening is familiar with the leaders. Several of you, when you sent me your bios in your emails, and just now, you've mentioned Red Coat Project or getting a red coat. That may not mean anything to a lot of people who are listening to this. So, what does the Red Coat mean in Lads to Leaders? And what is a Red Coat Project?
So, funny enough, and you can edit this out, I've had to say this like 50 times. The Red Coat Award is the highest award you can receive in Lads to Leaders. It takes 5 years to complete, and the first 4 years you focus on many different events. You do song leading every year, you do debate or Bible Bowl, you work up all these events, and then when you combine a few other projects such as an outreach project, a personal growth project, that ultimately leads you to a leadership project that you have to have approved by the Board of Lads to Leaders. It takes several months to complete, and once you've completed that leadership project, you will then have received the Red Coat Award.
Wow. It sounds a little bit like Eagle Scouts, like getting your Eagle Scout badge. That's amazing. That is amazing. So we have an audience in all 50 states, and as of this recording, 102 countries. And that comprises Christians of all ages, but I expect most of them are older than you. So as young people growing up in the church, what message would you like to give to the church around the world?
I would just like to say, like, no matter who you are or where you are, whether in life spiritually or like just where you are in general, that you never forget that God loves you, and you have thousands of individuals all across the world who love you and are always there for you, even if you forget it or just don't remember. They're still there.
For me to say one message to the church around the world, honestly, you need to invest in your young people. I think we get caught up in this notion a lot of times that these guys are junior Christians. They're not. There is no such thing as a junior Christian. And there's not a period of time of waiting to serve or whatever. When you invest in your kids at an early age and you teach them how to lead songs, teach them how to give speeches, and maybe that's incorporating Lads to Leaders, but when you involve them, it leads them on a better path. If you wait too long, then they could leave the faith by then. By the time you get to the point where you're ready to say, hey, would you want to serve in this role, or let's do this?
Yeah, I just think it's really important that we need to be thinking about the developing leaders, because we won't always be here, and if we just rely on our generation, then the next generation won't have something to be able to do, and the faith will just fall.
Well, in order of appearance, that's Ava Killen, Blake Donahoe, and Chloe Brenneman. They are the future of the church, but as Blake just pointed out, and I hope you can hear, they are also very much the present of the church. Thanks be to God for this brother and these sisters, and thanks be to God for gifting them and raising them up for all of us to enjoy, and that goes for everyone who is involved in Lads to Leaders. We hope to hear a lot more from y'all in the years ahead.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.